sister moon. I seldom see you, seldom hear your tune. Preoccupied with selfish misery.
Greetings, Uncle Travelling Matt here, and I'm sitting by the side of a little lane, having me dinner and doing today's video. So today's video is all about yesterday, of course, and well, it was my rest day. I didn't walk any of the path. It was my rest day in Assisi. That was not the original plan. The original plan was to walk on, but I'll be honest, I was exhausted. They do recommend you have a rest day about every, 7 to 10 days or something, and I'd done 7. But so yeah, I had a rest day, rearranged accommodation, and it was wonderful, and it was exactly the right thing to do. Got up late, which is, wonderful. I say late, I mean like by Camino standards. I had my breakfast at 9 o'clock. I mean, for me, that would normally be quite an achievement back home, but on Camino, 9 o'clock is very late. And then lazy breakfast, and went into the main square, sorted all my accommodation stuff out at the info point, and then went and drank coffee and read some of Angela Foligno, and just caught up on some admin-y stuff, and then made my way down to the Basilica. And the reason, or the prime reason I went to the Basilica, was to put some prayers on the tomb. So lots of people have sent me prayers. I wrote each and every one out except for one. And then I posted them at the tomb. But before I did that, I actually sat before the tomb and prayed myself, meditated for probably about an hour, I reckon. And the one prayer I didn't write out is because a friend had asked me to recite it. So I recited her prayer out. I'm not going to say what it is, it's private, but it was very beautiful, and I was in tears reciting her prayer. So there we are. And the prayers, I mean, some are friends, some are family, some are people I hardly know. And yeah, well, so that was that. Had a look around the Basilica, both that, but also went to the shop, bought a couple of things. My one disappointment, I couldn't find the stained glass window that inspired Angela Foligno. So I'm reading all about Angela Foligno. Obviously, Foligno is I'm staying tonight. And she was a mystic who was born about a quarter of a century after St. Francis. She was a Franciscan, and her religious life started when she was on a pilgrimage to Assisi, and this stained glass kind of touched her in a way, a stained glass window, and she broke down and started screaming in the Basilica. The upper Basilica, I couldn't find the stained glass window. Apparently it's there. I looked at them all, I didn't see one that met the description, so, well, we tried. So there was that. Then I went to the pilgrim office. It was shut, so I went and grabbed a bit of dinner. I had a wonderful sandwich with wild boar and truffle salami in it. My God, amazing. Getting into the truffles in a big way. Went to the pilgrim office. Lovely lady from Peru there doing the Compostelas. But interestingly, there was a party in there first. And one of them was English. It was the first other English pilgrim I met. And she came from Aston by Stone, only about 10 miles from me. So we had a nice little chat, and that was good. Yeah, well, didn't expect that. And then coming out, went back to the apartment, hotel. In fact, I checked into my apartment and moved my bags from the hotel to the apartment, because I'd already booked one night and I couldn't book a second in the hotel. I should explain that. Had a little relax, and then went to the Pilgrim Mass at 6 o'clock, and wasn't as touched by the Mass this time as last, but it was nice because they were all there. The whole gang were there, the 4 Canadians, Marianne and Michael, the Americans, Katja, the German, Max, the Singaporean, and There was a couple of French ladies, and the ones I met in Chiterna, on the way to Chiterna, and Norbert, of course, the Slovakian guy. And so we all kind of hung out after the mass, and then there's a party at Marianne and Michael's, and they'd had this big apartment because her sister had come over as well, and it had a rooftop terrace. So we ended the day in this party on a rooftop terrace overlooking St. Clare's Basilica. I mean, it was wonderful. And it was just so nice. And we were talking about pilgrim songs. We were talking about, our stories, sharing stories. One point, one of the Canadians, Hélène, she said, what is it about St. Francis that echoes throughout time? And we all kind of came up with our theories, But the one that, like there was the stuff, the connection with nature, and the eco stuff is very current, and he was a peacemaker and all that. And, I talked about his meeting with the Sultan, which not everybody knew about. And also the fact he was local as well as very widely travelled. But the one that I hadn't thought about, which is what this Hélène said, is St. Clare. In that, what you got with Francis was this real balance, because of his relationship with Clare. Like, they clearly loved one another, but it was a platonic love. Like, it was a spiritual love. She was his spiritual wife almost, but there was no sexual thing there. It was not all love is about relationships in the carnal sense, and they both fulfilled their purpose, and they kind of balanced one another. And that thing of the divine masculine and the divine feminine, it really resonated with me. So that was that. I had this one-room apartment, and Norbert and Max didn't have anywhere to stay, so they slept on my floor. Except Max decided, he says, can I sleep out in the corridor instead? Because there wasn't a lot of room, and it was very hot. And so we did, but there was people in this apartment next door, and I thought, what would they think in the morning? Like, they open the door, and there's this Mr. Miyagi, because that's how he looks like, lying on the bloody floor outside their house. And apparently, I said, was there anyone next door? And he's like, oh yeah, they came out, and I said good morning to them, and they walked on. That's not what you expect. When you wake up in the morning, you open your front door, and you find an elderly Chinese guy on the floor. Quite jolly. But anyway, Norbert is something special. And I've always said you meet the saints in other people, and I met Francis in him. I mean, he even looks a bit like St. Francis, and he's at the right age. But he used to work, in forests and stuff. He's very close to nature, very, very deeply spiritual, and his taste in music. And he actually knew, I was going to teach him the Bread and Fishy song. He knew it, and he's like, oh my God, I was brought up on this song. Like, my parents loved Blackmore's Night. And so I didn't need to introduce it to him. He already loved the song, so there we are. So that's that. That was Assisi. It was wonderful. Wonderful. And I also got a bit of a rest. I say a bit. I mean, I probably did more than 10,000 steps, and it was all up and down. It's a very vertical city, so it wasn't easy going. I mean, normally you would call that a day of tough exercise, but compared with the rest, that's that. But I'm now about 4 or 5 kilometres on the way to Spello, and I've got accommodation in Foligno tonight. Whether I walk all the way to Foligno or whether I'll walk to Spello and take a train for the rest, but it's only 3 and a bit K out onwards. We'll see. That is for later. In the meantime, I've got the sunshine, I've got the nature, and I've just had a ham and cheese pap. It's me, Uncle Travelling Matt, saying, keep travelling and stay on the path.
Brother sun and sister moon, I now do see you, I can hear your tune, so much in love with all